maybe I'm leaving out too many details. And it's time to talk about it and remind myself that I'm not alone. And by doing that, remind you that you're not alone and that it is not a weak thing to talk about the scary things. It is not a sign that you can't take care of yourself or you can't handle your shit. I actually think, as cheesy as it sounds, and we know how I love the cheese, I think it's probably the most brave thing you can do when you speak up and say, hey, I need a little extra something right now because I'm having a hard time. Welcome to Pretty and Kink. I'm your host, Tera V, and I'm here to bring you along on this weird little journey called life. I'm an adult content creator and I'm an awkward girl extraordinaire. I am here to show you that life can be messy and weird and beautiful all at the same time. I want to show you the awkward side of sexy and the sweet side of dirty and the beauty that's in the darkness. I'm not afraid to talk about the things that make most people uncomfortable, so consider this your trigger warning. Let's buckle up, let me be your safe word, and let's go get weird. Hello, my lovely little weirdos. Welcome back for another episode. This episode, it's gonna be a journey because I've been in this very strange headspace, and a friend pointed out, why am I trying to be authentic and yet not share this really big side of me that's happening in my life right now? And isn't that the whole point of what I'm doing? So this episode is difficult because I always go into these with a plan. And today, I got jack shit for you. I got nothing. All I know is I can't show up today and just be like, hello, everything is amazing and I love life and how are you guys? Rainbows and kittens and unicorns, let's go. Because abso-fucking-lutely not. I think sometimes I get stuck and I think, well, what the fuck does it matter what I'm going through? This isn't going to help somebody else. This isn't going to relate. And I realized that that's bullshit. And that's the point of this podcast, right? Like, what did I say in episode 1? We all need to shut the fuck up and just start talking to each other in order to realize that we are not alone. So what good am I doing sitting here like kind of quietly struggling when maybe my struggle will make you realize that you're not alone? Isn't that the point of what we're here for, right? I want us to be open and I want us to be vulnerable, which I always hate the cheese. I hate the trendy kind of lingo, but I do. I want us to be vulnerable here. And part of being vulnerable isn't just talking about uncomfortable stuff like sex. Sometimes it's talking about the much bigger, deeper. See what I do? Okay, hold on. Number 1. I immediately was going to make that a joke because bigger, deeper. This is how I handle my stress, is I hide behind stuff like that. We are actively spotlighting what I'm trying to do right now with overcoming that, because I do hide from stuff and I will present my problems to you, but I'll make them pretty and I'll make them nice and neat and cute and easy to swallow, and then I'll carry on. And that's that. Sometimes our problems are bigger than that. And that's what I'm going through right now. And I just have realized for me to stay quiet is the equivalent of me telling you what not to do in that first episode when, my biggest thing was like my annoyance of we all sit around silent. And if we would just shut the fuck up, like just quiet the voice in our head and actually speak up and talk to each other, we would then know we're not alone. we would suddenly be like, shit, all this time I've been suffering alone, and that person feels that way, and that one, and this one. And I just made myself suffer for a really inappropriate length of time when if I would have just spoken up, I could have felt better simply by just knowing there was somebody else that feels the way I do. I could actually feel like I'm relating to somebody. With these episodes, I always kind of think it doesn't matter what I am going through. My specific struggle doesn't matter, but maybe I'm leaving out too many details. And it's time to talk about it and remind myself that I'm not alone. And by doing that, remind you that you're not alone and that it is not a weak thing to talk about the scary things. It is not a sign that you can't take care of yourself or you can't handle your shit. I actually think, as cheesy as it sounds, and we know how I love the cheese, I think it's probably the most brave thing you can do when you speak up and say, hey, I need a little extra something right now because I'm having a hard time. And that's where I am at in my life. I've always been able to hide behind a mask of humor. I love to hide behind my hurt, and I will hide with laughter and jokes and smiles. And I will tell you that I am struggling, but I will tell you and then laugh and make jokes and not let you all the way in. And lately, that hasn't been a possibility for me because I have been so deep in my darkness that I think I have lost the ability to hide. Again, I will tell you, life sucks. Ha ha ha, funny joke, carry on, let's go. And I'll be like, I'm fine though, things are horrible. The ship is sinking, things are bad. I will tell you that I am drowning. I'm not even doing the doggy paddle. My lips are barely out of the water to catch a breath. I am fucking drowning, but I'll still somehow find a way to do it very lightly. And at the moment, I am sure that I am probably worrying the fuck out of my friends because I have not been positive like that. And I am currently dealing with a lot of physical pain. And it is extreme, it is severe, and it's chronic. And I don't know how to live with it. I have been suffering with back problems for 2 years. I have a herniated disc that has an absolute love affair with my sciatic nerve. It's just it just can't get enough of it. And so in April, I needed surgery. I had if you can call it minor back surgery, but nothing major, but I had back surgery. Things were great. My life changed for the better. All was well. And then recently, just things have not felt right. And sure enough, I got confirmation that it has re-herniated. And I do require more surgery and much more major. And that's heavy. But what's really heavy is the pain I have been experiencing because that love affair with the sciatic nerve, straight up fatal fucking attraction. This herniated disc can't get enough of this nerve, and I don't know how to begin to explain the pain I have been dealing with. It has been excruciating, and I cannot hide with that pain. It is not possible for me when it is in the acute severe stage. There's no hiding behind a wall, and it's not even a choice of well, now's the time to ask for help. It is, I am incapable of hiding what I'm feeling because I cannot see straight. I can't think straight. Every ounce of energy is going into trying to move through the pain. I'm very frank when I talk about it with my friends. And again, I'm sure I probably alarm them because I will tell them I'm not okay and I don't want to keep doing this. And if I can't get this fixed, I don't want to live with this. And I'm not saying it in a dramatic way. I mean, I'm honestly saying I do not want to have a life if this is my baseline. I physically, mentally cannot do this. I can't. So it's been a really hard place for me to be in because for probably the first time in my life, I can't fully hide the depths of my dark. That's hard for me. And it makes me feel, honestly, it makes me feel weak, which is silly. And we shouldn't feel weak when we are being authentic and showing what's truly going on. But here I am saying it makes me feel weak. And it's strange for me to be able to be so raw. That pain has ripped the ability from me to be able to mask it. I don't have that option. Like it is not an option because I can't think straight. I can't see straight. When I am in the depths of the pain, that's the only thing that exists. And it is horrible. It's a lot. It's fucking a lot. And so I have been just drowning in it. But it has made me realize a couple things. So my back issues have brought to light to me how important discussing stuff like this is, because it is actually so similar to mental health problems. They're invisible. You can't see them. You can interact with a person and they can have a beautiful smile on their face and they can tell you that everything is great. And, you know, you go on a bike ride with them or you go on a walk and you're just like, oh, they're great. They're amazing. They're happy. They're fit, everything. And then they go home and they're crying, whether it's emotional pain or physical pain. You don't see it almost unless they want you to see it. Now with pain, I mean, it does get to a point where there's no hiding it. But for the most part, I am able to endure my extreme pain in private. My pain fluctuates. It's usually absolutely horrendous in the morning. And then again in the evening into the night. During the day, as I move, it gets better and it becomes this tolerable thing that I can push down and I can handle without showing any outward signs of how I'm actually feeling. And so it's hard for people to understand what I'm going through. And I find this very similar to when I have explained to people that I suffer from depression or anxiety, and they'll be like, "What? You seem fine. You're always so happy," or "You're bubbly," or, you know, I'll tell people how painfully shy I am and I get massive anxiety going on dates, and people are like, "What? I don't believe you." Yet meanwhile, I've got like explosive diarrhea leading up to the date because I'm so nervous, right? I can hide things very well, as most of us can. And when I was at my surgeon's office yesterday, I had to swallow my pride. And I had to kick my ego to the curb. And I had to tell my surgeon, "Listen, I'm having a hard time when I'm going places. And if I park too far, I'm not sure that I can get into the store. And my ego won't let me take my cane with me because I require a cane to be mobile during certain times." And I said, "My cane doesn't, like, I can't bring that with me. So I can't believe I'm asking this, but can I get a handicap parking pass?" And, you know, he was like, "Oh my God, yes, of course. But could you do me a favor?" And he says, "When you pull into the handicap spot, could you just do me a favor and just bring the cane with you? Just even if you carry it, just so, you know, it looks like you should be parking there." And I found that so humorous as far as that invisible, silent illness kind of thing, because I can imagine getting probably screamed at eventually by somebody when I do use a handicap parking spot, because I'm usually like all dressed up. I tend to wear like 2.5 to 3 inch heels because that actually feels amazing for my back. And don't come at me. My surgeon approves and said numerous women wear heels for their backs, so don't come at me. But I look healthy, right? Because we all have this like preconceived notion of somebody that's physically or mentally unwell. They're going to look disheveled or just not put together. I look fine. And so for me to tell somebody like I am in excruciating pain that at times makes me question if I want to be sitting here on this earth. And then you see me walk by and you're like, "What the fuck? This bitch is full of shit." Unless you have this like prop to show some sign of your struggle. Nobody has any idea unless you let them. It's the same as when we are struggling internally and we're putting on that front, right? You show up to work and you're smiling. You show up to your friend's place, you're smiling everywhere you go. Like, yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I'm having a little bit of a hard time, but I'm okay. Meanwhile, when you're home alone, you're crying yourself to sleep. You know, you're battling dark thoughts in your mind, but you're never talking about it. And it's not like you're walking around with a cast on your arm, right? Or you're in a wheelchair, or you have some other visible indicator that something's wrong. You're limping, you're whatever. When you're dealing with these invisible things, it can be very hard to feel validated. And I know for myself, sometimes it's hard for me to talk about it with people because I worry that they don't believe me. Because like in the mornings, things aren't pretty. I can't walk in the mornings. It's a whole process to get out of bed and get moving. And it takes about an hour minimum for me to be able to stand up straight and not be crying. Come 1 o'clock in the afternoon, I can carry on with my life and not show that pain. I'm still feeling a degree of it, but I'm not going to show it. Same thing with depression, right? Same thing with just mental health struggles. It's hard for people to believe the severity when you're sitting there looking perfectly fine in their eyes, you know, in the eyes of everybody. You look okay. How could you possibly be struggling that much? And I guess I feel like maybe that's kind of the point of this, is just to remind you that everybody struggles. And, you know, almost honestly, kind of like last week's episode on talking about social media and how much it fucks me up because what you're seeing isn't necessarily real. I think that's life also. Never judge a book by a cover, right? You know, people think I am this happy, bubbly thing, and I am. But I also, again, I'm sure I have raised a level of concern in the eyes of my friends with the way I've been speaking lately, because it is very, very dark. And again, I have said on numerous occasions, if somebody tells me that I can't fix this, I will not live with this. I won't. It's too much. I can't handle this. And that's a scary thing to say out loud. And there's a part of me that wants to say I shouldn't say that, but yes, I should. Because by saying it, I'm allowing people to see me, and they then know to come in closer and maybe give me a little bit more comfort and understand that I'm maybe a little bit more fragile than I've been letting on. And then it's my job to accept that, which is very hard as well. But, you know, we got to talk more, right? We've got to be more open, and it doesn't mean you're weak to say you're struggling. I think it actually ultimately is the strong people that are able to lay it out and say, hey man, I'm having a real fucking hard time right now. Please help me. Because it's lonely doing it, and it's scary, whether it is a situation like myself where I can't really do anything when I'm in this pain, or you're on your couch with debilitating anxiety and you can't even leave your house. It is the same thing, and you're alone unless you let somebody in. So let somebody in, because it can help. Even with basic things, like you just don't know how people will step up for you. For me, I have a cat. I struggle in the mornings with moving. Like, I can't even begin to explain it. And so one of my big struggles is actually feeding her in the morning. I can't get to her bowl. I can't bend down to get it, and I can't bend down to put one back down. And my friend came to get my cat. We're coming to get your cat so you can just worry about you. And guys, the weight that took off my shoulders for this past week was huge. As simple as not having to worry about feeding a cat, it made all the world of difference in my mornings of having one less thing to just feel stressed about. And she wouldn't have done that if I hadn't fully expressed like just how hard of a time I was having. So we need to talk more, you know? And The cool thing when we do talk more is sometimes as simple as suddenly feeling validated can be bigger than anything. I am open with my struggles. I post a veiled version of things online, and somebody had seen one of my stories and sent me a DM. And he was like, hey, listen, I saw your story. I'm sorry you're going through this. I've had back issues as well. I needed surgery. I've done a lot of different things. If you ever want to talk, let me know. And we started talking, and I said, thank you for giving me your time. Sometimes I really don't feel like people fully understand what I'm going through. And he said, I know. And he said, it's hard for people to understand the pain. It's not just physical. The mental side of it is almost worse. And then he went on to list every single thing that I had been feeling, that when I tried to put it into words for other people, they heard me, but they didn't hear me. And suddenly I had this other person that was like, no, I was there right in that same fucking train with you. And I know the pain you're talking about. And I know where your mental space went to. And I feel for you because I was in that exact same spot. And I have taken so much comfort from that because suddenly I felt validated because it is such an invisible thing. I question sometimes if people fully understand or believe the level of what I'm actually going through pain-wise. So to have somebody go like, oh no, I know what you're talking about. I hear you. I cannot begin to explain how amazing something as simple as that was. And I wouldn't have gotten that validation or that comfort or relief if A, I hadn't put something on my stories, and B, if I would have kind of just ignored the DM and said, they don't really care. I don't want to burden anybody. I instead opened that door, and it gave me a Band-Aid to something that was really hurting. So yeah, just speak up. Maybe somehow you can be validated with just hearing this and knowing that you're not alone in struggling with whatever it might be, whether it's physical pain, emotional pain, anything. You're stressed because you went through a breakup or you lost a job or you can't pay your bills or you're in a really dark place. Whatever it is, try as hard as it may be to just raise your hand a little bit and say, hi, here I am. I'm kind of having a hard time. Will you be here for me? And I think you'll be amazed at what that could do for you. You don't have to go into detail if you don't want with people, but just say, hey, I'm struggling and I could use you right now. Maybe I just need you to come over and watch a movie with me. I don't want to talk about what's going on, but will you just come hang out with me? And that sometimes is enough to help you start getting a little bit more used to asking for things and help you build up to the point where you can straight up say, I need help. Can you help me? Can you be here? Because I'm really struggling. So that's it. I don't know what the point of all of this was. I don't know if this is beneficial for anybody, including myself. I'm not sure. But if you have anything you need to unload that you've been carrying with you and you're just like, oof, but you're not ready to say it out loud to people, there's that anonymous link in my show notes that will always be there. So feel free. You just want to dump your shit there. No one will ever know. You don't have to say it out loud. I won't know who you are, but you can get it off your chest. So just know, I'm your safe word. Never forget that. So that's all. I'm going to go. Yeah, this is a weird one to finish. I don't know how to finish this. Other than thanks for being here. I will crawl out of your ear canals now. Get out there and be weird, and I will see you next time. Oh, fuck. All right. As I pick my nose on camera, what the fuck was that? Oh, that was absolutely ridiculous. Fucking dum-dum. Burp sitting in the back of my throat, and I can just fucking feel it, and I feel like I'm going to say something profound right when it comes out. On Fatal fucking Attraction, man. At this point, it's like boiling bunnies, and as I say that, I realize how old I am, and none of you are going to get that, and I should just cut that out. Deep in it. What is that noise? Yo. Okay, my neighbors. My neighbors are doing construction. I don't think we're going to be able to hide from that noise, so that's going to be a part of things. Anyways, there's a lot we can carry solo, but at some point, dude, like, you're going to end up needing back surgery because the load is so heavy. But like, see what I'm doing? My therapist hates me for this because I'm going to keep doing this. I love humor.